they call this in afefe. It just came like a wind then, and so I literally saw the timer at 95 hours 45 minutes, and I was like, okay, we're almost there. And next thing, power went out.
Hello, viewers. You're welcome to this episode of The Dark Room with Mide. This is the show for creatives behind the camera. Today with me in the studio, I have an amazing creative. It was the producer that handled the just concluded Guinness World Record by Ladi Wonder. That is the longest distance walked on the catwalk by a model. He's a multi-talented creative. He's a photographer, he's a cinematographer, he's a broadcast engineer, and guess what? He studied estate management. And there is no other person than Emmanuel Ejiogu, popularly called EMR. Emmanuel, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
The first question I would want to ask you is, before we go straight into the project you just concluded, estate management, photography, how do they relate? How did you get into that field?
Okay, so first off, my dad is a builder.
Okay.
So I had the interest for buildings, houses. So I'm going to say the only A1 I got in my WAEC was in technical drawing. And I wanted to study architecture, but I couldn't further with architecture, so I went in for estate management. Right from time, I've always had interest for visual art. Okay. I can remember while I was younger, I wanted to know why people were inside TV screens. How did this man get inside this box? So I remember one time I took my dad's screwdriver and I loosened the TV. I couldn't couple it back. I got the beating of my life. So
Definitely.
over time, I've developed interest in visual art, and that has driven me from photography into everything media.
So let's move on straight to the Guinness World Record. Like, personally, I'm so excited about this interview because it's not every day you get to interview somebody that produced for a Guinness World Record. When you knew you were going to handle that production, what was it like for you? What was the feeling? What was your spontaneous reaction?
Okay, how I see every project is, this is a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
And I always see myself as a solution provider. So what would be the best way to solve this problem? That was how I took the production. And knowing that it's an international event, there has to be guidelines.
Yeah.
And set rules that you have to follow, and particular standards that you have to meet up to.
Yeah.
We basically drew up the design, sent pre-approvals to Guinness, and they approved our design. So we went on with the show.
You had the whole creative process.
Yeah, so the creative process comes with a lot of calculations, also bearing in mind that she has to break the record at some particular time.
Yeah.
So we had to calculate the distance of the runway against how many times she has to go, how many laps she has to go on the runway within a particular time. So we calculated that she has to do about 30 kilometers per day on that runway at a particular pace. In also noting that there will be other models working with her. So we scheduled that she had to come out every 2 minutes, making sure she had time to rest, although she was not able to rest. So we drew up a plan for that, where she had 7 hours walking and 1 hour to rest. Another 7 hours, 1 hour to rest. So it was basically 3 segments of 8 hours for each day.
That project, I think it lasted for 7 days, 1st of October to...
1st of October to the 6th of October,
days.
3 a.m.
Wow, amazing. What was collaboration like? Did you handle it all?
Okay, so I don't have 800 hands. I have two hands, and we needed more people to join us. So we had volunteers who came in when we called for volunteers, and we had people that we had to contract because they had equipment and some expertise
Yeah.
that we needed, because we needed professional hands to carry everything out. Although we didn't work with most of the team that we planned to work with,
Yeah.
but we were able to achieve our
Okay.
set goal.
Like, how many people did you have on your team?
Okay, so
That's people behind the camera.
camera operators, we had 3 camera operators. We used PTZ cameras, so we just flanked them on 2 sides of the runway. So that reduced manpower a lot. Then we had a few more people monitor live streaming and vision mixing.
Yeah.
Then we had people on sound for sound,
Yeah.
and then control lights, basically.
Yeah.
So that was about a team of 15.
15.
Yes, a team
For-
of 15 for production. Then for fashion, welfare, and the rest of the teams,
Yeah.
a total of 300 people.
Oh, that's amazing, because how did you work with 15 people for 6 days? Before you answer that, I'd like you to talk about it with how did you merge their individual creativity? You are the producer, you have an idea of what you want to achieve, you have your own creativity. How did you work with them?
Okay, so there's one thing with working with people that you know already, and there's something working with equipment that you understand. So working with people that you know already, you know their strength. So you put them in departments where they are very comfortable and their output is going to be amazing. So having OG and Nice on cameras 1 and 2 was almost like the best thing I could have done, because at some point, yes, I was not able to sit on the console and direct them that, okay, this is the shot I want, this is the shot I want. But the few times that I came in, I was able to, like, okay, OG, let's go from the feet to the head, let's get the details of the dress. And it was just seamless because I've worked with them before. I know what they can do.
Okay.
And that's the direction they wanted right
Yeah.
from time. Even if they were not getting it when I was not on seat, after I directed and the other visual mixer saw, he now started giving those kind of directions,
Okay.
and it became seamless with all of them.
And I'd like you to talk more about the equipment. Like, this is personally from EMR. He's not recommending anything, but then you should be able to like give some feedbacks that, okay, probably if you want to embark on this same kind of project, this is the best bet for you. This is the perfect camera to use. Probably not perfect, but what would you advise somebody to go for?
Okay, so I hardly work with PTZ cameras, but I saw the value in PTZ cameras while we were working there. 1, less manpower. It can do basically anything you want it to do. Zoom in, pan out, pan left, pan right. And it had the amazing feature of AI tracking. So it could actually track on its own without being controlled. Events like this, having manpower, the cost of manpower could be replaced with robotic cameras.
Yeah.
First off, then you need to get real power, like a very good power source. That has to be your
You sound like that was an hurdle for you.
okay. That was a major challenge because, as we all know, the problem of Nigeria is power. Power both in the political space and power electrical.
Oh.
So yeah, power was a major challenge, and
You people that were going to shoot for 6 days, you probably made some arrangement regarding power.
yeah, so we had hiccups along the line. We wanted to use two units of 100 kVA generators, one at standby while the other is working. But lack of funds and some other challenges, we couldn't get that up. Then thankfully Unilag came through and they were able to supply us with power. Had we known, would have had that discussion earlier and just know that okay, we're solely relying on Unilag power supply for the event. We didn't really have issues all through the event until the last day. Now, this story is very, very interesting
I
because
want to hear it.
we were not supposed to have that problem at all. I just feel like, they call this in Afefe territorial demons.
Oh,
So
God.
it just came like a wind then. And okay, so initially we planned that for the last day we're going to run on generator all through because we didn't trust like the power supply. So we wanted to be rest assured that we're just going to run on generator. And while we were working, the last thing on our mind was that power was going to go out. And all of a sudden, I think by 6 p.m. And you know what made it painful? So I literally saw the timer at 95:45.
Oh.
And we were aiming that, okay, we are running for 96 hours.
Oh.
And after 96 hours, then we can overshoot and see how her strength can take her.
Okay.
So I literally saw the timer at 95 hours, 45 minutes. And I was like, okay, we're almost there. And next thing, power went out.
15 minutes. Oh, my God.
Power went out. And I ran down to the generator post and I now started communicating with the guy. Okay, just put the gen on first. Then we can talk later why the gen was off. And the guy was just putting his hand everywhere, trying to touch the gen, romancing it and all of that. Oh, baby, please, come on.
Oh,
And with the plan that we had, because those equipments are on UPS and we just have a 2-minute window.
How?
Just make sure that the power comes on within 2 minutes so that the UPS does not go out. And it occurred to me that this guy does not know what he's doing here. And it was the 2 minutes elapsed. Then my electrician told me that, Jamo, we had to get Unilag to supply us power, else that would be the end of our show. So we had to start making calls. This guy, for no reason, the painful part was nobody knew when he switched over to Unilag light. Because when you are doing that changeover, we'll be aware because some lights will go off and we'll be aware that okay, this guy we switched something. Nobody knew when this guy switched it, and then Unilag light went off. Long story short, Unilag supplied us power again. And we had to beg them this time that please, nothing must go wrong because it took over 30 minutes to sort out that issue. It was really chaotic because they had to take the guy to Alpha Base, from Alpha Base to police station. Because
he really had to explain himself.
Whenever you're planning something like this, power should be. And I think I'm working on something to create a power solution, but
Okay. Okay, can you hear that? A creative mind at work. Nigerians anticipate. Okay, yeah, that was really nice. Yeah. You mentioned something about funding. You know these things, especially when you're trying to tell a client that okay, this is my quotation for this. It's important that you bear it in mind that you might have to go beyond the borders of what you already planned. Did you make any provision for probably if the fund wasn't going to be enough?
I don't want it to seem like an advice, but I'm going to tell anyone that cares to listen that when you create a plan A, please create a plan B. Please. I learned terrible lesson by creating my plan B on the spot. What happened with funding really taught me a lesson that everyone knows, trust no man. Because even 2 days to the event, we're still getting hope that the sponsor was going to send the money. He literally said he has sent the money. And we were hoping that, okay, because all our plans were already laid out, the vendors were going to get equipment for, they were on standby, just waiting for the money. I must say, right here, I want to thank Mr. Bayo Ashrop.
Okay.
He was of immense help. He helped us to get vendors that
Wow.
gave us their equipment in advance. That was how we started the event.
Wow.
Yes, they were not what we planned with,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was still a solution. So we just found our way around the equipment and we worked with them. The funds did come in. We had to work
Yeah.
with 0 naira, literally 0 naira.
For someone that has worked on Nigerian Idol, you've worked on the AMVCA, were there any mistakes that you made when you were on set? Some things that you wish you did better?
Okay, if I would say I made mistakes, I would say communication. So I remember vividly that there was someone I took her tag off because she was being rude to a team lead.
Oh.
Yeah, so I feel like I shouldn't have done it in front of everybody. But I believe that it was a lesson that everyone needed to learn.
Yeah.
Respect to the team lead was something we needed to learn. And for mistakes, well, I haven't seen any mistakes yet, except for, well, it will not be on my part
Okay.
because I had already made the request earlier, but due to fears of the unknown, so the request was not given and we couldn't use the page.
All right. That was a very insightful session. But before we move out of the studio, have you gotten any negative feedback since you finished the production? Has there been any criticism from anyone?
More than criticisms, I've received applause.
Oh.
I've actually been someone that a lot of people like to see my work and all of that, but I've been in a space where people don't see me outside the man on the camera.
Yeah.
This project actually brought me out
Yeah.
that there are many other things that I could be. I'm a multimedia professional.
Yeah.
I'm more than just a photographer, I'm more than just a cinematographer, more than just a broadcast engineer. I'm also a Steadicam operator.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
So there
A
are so
very
many other
creative one
things
at that.
I could do. So I also make string art, but nobody knows that.
Oh. Sorry, for the benefit of those that do not know what string art is, what is that?
Okay, so string art is a type of art where you use thread, literally thread, to make graphical or visual representation on.
I think you posted
board.
something like that on your page.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
something
check
like
his
that on
page.
my page.
Okay, so before we draw the curtain today, is there anything that you particularly want to ask me about? Is there anything you'd want to know?
Okay, so where do you see Dark Room in 5 years from now?
Where do I see Dark Room in
5 years from now?
5 years from now? I'm such a dreamer, yeah, but dreams are free. I see it going global, and let me not use the word probably, but I hope to see that Darkroom gets to be more than just a podcast. The intention is to bring creatives together, to be a source of motivation. I mean, for you, viewer, that you're watching this, I'm hoping that this podcast today will one day be an inspiration for your next biggest masterpiece. So I'm hoping to bring creatives together for a sort of collaboration. So I'm seeing beyond this podcast. I'm seeing beyond this immediate environment that we are. But yeah, it's my dream, yeah. I hope it happens really soon. That's even before 5 years time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be one person that would notice people behind the camera.
Yeah.
Now, the people that are celebrated are the people in front of
In
the
front
camera.
of the camera, yeah.
But the people behind the camera are actually the people that made the people being celebrated to be seen.
Yeah.
The people in the studio, the grip guys, the people that are setting up, the one that is going to bring the XLR cable.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody celebrates them.
You know, personally, I'm not speaking as someone in the industry, but I feel like I know there's the author theory, yeah, but I feel like besides that, not just the producer should be given accolades for a production. Everyone behind the camera, because they are bringing what you have in your head, that thing that even beyond what you imagined. I'm sure that for when you produce for people, when you shot your music video, they did not see to the extent that you saw. They just gave you a theoretical representation of what they wanted, but you're the one that was able to visualize.
I feel like already there should be an award that celebrates people behind the scenes. It's more than just the actors. Yes, they have to read the lines, and if the light is not right, it's not right, and the image is going to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If the camera guy is not doing his work, if the Steadicam is not balanced properly, it's going to be a terrible work,
is there
and nobody would celebrate you.
show that recognizes? Probably.
I've not heard of the best camera operator awards.
Anyways, but we read about the best producer, yeah?
Yes. I mean, there's the best producer, yes.
So,
EMBCA.
what you say we start something?
we can do that, yeah?
Okay.
I mean, we started that with the dark room, so I'm hoping to see Steadicam operators, camera operators here. I mean, let it say their plight and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
What prompted me to start this show was, as I got into the creative industry as a young teenager, and I had to deal with a lot of things. I had so many questions on my mind. And I went online, I could barely see content where creatives came out or just talk about what your experience was like. There is a human angle to every production beyond what you can see. There are feelings attached to it. There is a manpower, thought process, and everything. So yeah, that's really valid. That's very, very valid. It's something we should look into.
I hope we'll get to celebrate the behind the scenes. Like, I'm looking at camera guys right now.
Alright, so we're celebrating the guys behind the scene for us. And of course, while we draw the curtain on this show, I hope I remember to mention that EMR has worked on so many projects before this particular one. I mean, he has worked on Nigerian Idol, he has worked on EMVC. Hey, so accolades to you.
Thank you very
Alright,
much.
I'm so happy. Thank you very much for coming on set today. I'm so glad.
I mean, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'd like to support every
Thank you. By the way, I've known EMR for a while now, and yeah, the first time we met, it was his creativity that stood out for me. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey of friendship. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. You're going to find the content, the video on the Journals of a Photographer YouTube channel. So do well to subscribe, like, share with your friends, and every creative that you do know, whether you're an amateur or you're a professional, this is the show for you. Till we meet on the next episode. Bye for now.